When I married Daniel, I truly believed I had found my forever person. He was kind, patient, funny. He never raised his voice. Everyone told me how lucky I was. What nobody warned me about was his mother. The first time I met her, she hugged me, smiled, and whispered, "Take good care of my little boy." At the time, it sounded sweet. I had no idea. Those words would slowly destroy my life. After our wedding, she started visiting almost every day. At first, she always called first. Then she stopped asking. She simply walked in. She had her own key. Daniel said it made sense. She's family. I tried to smile. I wanted to be the perfect wife. Whenever she criticized me, I stayed quiet. She didn't like my cooking. She rearranged my kitchen. She changed the furniture when we weren't home. She even replaced the curtains I had chosen. Daniel always had the same answer. She means well. Every argument ended exactly the same way. You know how mom is. I started questioning myself. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe this really was normal. Then I became pregnant. For the first time in months, I finally felt happy. Daniel cried when we saw the heartbeat. He held my hand and promised, "We're going to be an amazing family." But his mother didn't smile. She only asked one question. "So, who's going to raise the baby?" I laughed. "We are." She didn't. Over the next few weeks, she began making every decision for us. She picked baby names, bought furniture I didn't want, told strangers the nursery would be in her house because she would have the baby most weekends. Daniel kept saying, "She's just excited." One afternoon, I came home early from work. She was standing in my kitchen, opening my mail. When I asked what she was doing, she looked at me and smiled. This family has no secrets. That night, I begged Daniel to set boundaries. Instead, he apologized to his mother, not to me. I cried myself to sleep. Months passed. The stress never stopped. My blood pressure became dangerously high. The doctors told me I needed peace. Instead, his mother became even more controlling. Every appointment, every purchase, every conversation somehow became about her. One evening, I overheard her talking on the phone. She laughed and said, "When the baby arrives, he'll finally understand who really matters." Something inside me broke. For the first time, I realized I wasn't competing with another woman. I was competing with the person who had raised him, and I could never win. A week later, I packed one suitcase. Daniel came home just as I was leaving. He looked shocked. "You're really leaving?" I looked at him. "No, I'm leaving your mother." He didn't understand. Not then. I moved into my sister's apartment. For 2 weeks, he barely called. When he finally did, he asked if I had calmed down. I quietly answered, "No." I finally started thinking clearly. Our daughter was born 3 months later. Daniel was there. He held her. He cried. For a moment, I thought everything might finally change, but before we even left the hospital, his mother walked in carrying a stack of papers. "I've already made a schedule." She had planned holidays, birthdays, weekends, even my daughter's first Christmas, without asking me. Daniel looked at the papers, then looked at me. For the first time in our entire relationship, he didn't stay silent. He folded the papers, handed them back, and said, "Mom, this is my family. You don't get to control it anymore." The room became silent. His mother started crying. She called me manipulative. She said I had turned her son against her. Daniel simply opened the hospital door. "It's time for you to go." She walked out without saying goodbye. That wasn't the end of our problems. It took months of therapy, honest conversations, and painful changes. Daniel admitted something that changed everything. I spent my whole life trying to keep my mother happy, and never realized I was making my wife miserable. Today, our daughter is 6. She knows her grandmother, but she also knows something far more important. Love without boundaries isn't love. Sometimes the hardest person to stand up to is the one who taught you how to stand. And sometimes saving your family means finally saying one word: no.